Fantasy Football Show.
Hello everybody, welcome to Planet Sky FF, the world where everything revolves around £50,000. My name's Suj.
And my name is James.
50 G's. What's your rank, James?
Not as good as it was last week.
Oh, okay, fine.
I've
I
had a
just
little
feel
dip.
like if you get close to that 50 grand, you might give me 50 quid or something.
I think I've had 3 red arrows in a row and I've dropped less than 100 places, I think,
It's
over
very
those 3
tight.
game weeks. Which is a little disappointing because you look at the score and 84 points, that's all right. Probably would have settled for that pre-game week. Obviously, it's not finished yet. We've still got Manchester City on Wednesday night. But yeah, if you'd have said 84 points before the week started, I think I'd have been quite happy with that. But yeah, it's not gone to plan as such.
Let's go day by day. On the Saturday, you captained Mo Salah.
I did captain Mo Salah, yeah, which was slightly the right choice over Virgil van Dijk. I think confirmation of Alisson being out made that decision a little bit easier. I think obviously Van Dijk was a lock for the passing tier as he is in nearly all of Liverpool's games at the moment. But it just felt, Bournemouth at home have their weak moments. And they didn't play too badly, Bournemouth, but I felt there was, although I thought Van Dijk would probably hit the 10, there was a chance of a good haul from Salah. And we ended up basically in the middle of that, basically.
Any other returners?
Dean Henderson, Saturday, 14-pointer.
Nice.
Man of the match, save tier, points. That was me for Saturday.
I was similar. I had
Trent,
Mane.
4 points from Trent.
I had Mane captain only because I own Mane over Salah for no reason other than that's who I decided to buy the week before and captained him. So that was a 26-pointer, which was tidy.
I guess probably what I should clarify from the Saturday is I didn't bring in Ismail Assar. I was talking about doing it on the Thursday, pre even the game week, thinking that I might absolutely batter into Manchester City. But I decided with doubts had began to circle on KDB that I couldn't see me then forcing through too many transfers on Manchester City. And I decided with Traore playing the same day and obviously not getting the team news. And all of a sudden, from when we recorded, it was like, oh, he's going to be available. And I did suspect that he probably wouldn't start. But I was looking at it beyond and thinking, yeah, do you know what? There's still fixtures in hand coming up over these next few game weeks with Traore. So I've kind of decided at the moment I'm going to leave that there. And it might mean that I don't go back to Ismail Assar. At the moment, I'm probably not going to, actually.
I had Van Dijk points, a nice 8 points. Trent was only 4 points. Dean Henderson's 14. I had Baldock, picked up a 10-pointer on Saturday. Obviously, the captain on Sadio Mane as well. So I had a good Saturday. I'll be honest with you. I had a game week rank of 4K.
What did Mane get you back?
26, mate.
Nice.
Yeah, man of the match, golden assist, all that stuff. I think he had a shot tier as well from memory. And then the wheels have been coming off a little bit. I've still gone up in rank by a couple of thousand places, not hard where I am, but the wheels did come off. I made 3 transfers on the Saturday. Out went Trent, in came Otamendi.
Yep.
Did you make that same move?
No.
Or you subbed someone else in for Otamendi?
Yep.
Out went Mane, in came Aguero.
Yep.
That's like a 3-for-1 or whatever. And out went Martinelli, who I thought was a good cheap option, but ended up he's not playing anymore. And in came Bruno Fernandes. And that was the only move of mine that I made that worked out.
Well, no, I mean, you've got...
I've still got another game to go.
You've got a little bit on the passing tier for Otamendi, haven't you?
Yeah.
I think from the toughest on paper of the 3 fixtures, I wouldn't be too brutal about the 4 points. I decided just to go Otamendi. It seemed to become apparent through chats on Sunday that it looked like KDB wasn't going to play. Comments from Pep as well, and I think we could also read anyway that even if he was going to play against United, it probably then knock-on effect meant he wasn't going to play against Arsenal. Now it might be we're now in the vice versa, and if you'd have said to me pre-hand, I think if you've gone on and he's now going to play Arsenal and Burnley at home, you take that. If I'd have said that's your scenario at the start, so there's every chance I'll still make that move. Go on, Suj.
The funny thing is, buying Aguero and Otamendi, I didn't captain either, which almost makes me think, why did I bother? But I didn't have the confidence in the derby to captain any City or United player. And I left the armband on Richarlison. I thought Everton, they might give Chelsea a decent game. Well, that worked out well. So now, looking back at it, I'm like, why would you buy someone like Sergio Aguero and not give them the armband? Like, they're heavy hitters, right? So disappointing. But I've got 3 players on Wednesday night now.
Well, I've got the one at the moment. The move I made was Danny Ings to Otamendi, which I knew I was going to be moving Ings on either at this point or after the Norwich fixture on Saturday. My concern with moving it on Sunday like I did is Saturday looks really bare for me captain-wise. Unless I land correctly on Manchester City, my only alternatives would be Pereira or Soyuncu at Watford. I will have the benefit of the team or that. But I think I'd probably more likely look at Dean Henderson away to Newcastle at the moment, just because the ceiling's probably a little bit higher.
Yeah.
That might be the way I'd go. I think having got Otamendi in, if Otamendi didn't start against Arsenal, I would possibly go with him against Burnley. I just think everybody else would be a risk. It really feels that way. I will most likely add another Manchester City player on Wednesday night. The ideal scenario there is obviously that it's Kevin De Bruyne.
The team news as well.
Well, that's the benefit. Yeah, you can get one in, assess from there. You know your captain's all right. That feels like probably the right thing to do. But also actually now landing in this position, talking about the Saturday problem, the alternative is, and having landed this way from a 5-3-2, I can do it, is not to go City at all and actually maybe go Aubameyang. Then that gives me him Saturday. And although I'd be carrying his money through with a blank fixture, I'm going to want him game week 32. I'm really sure of
Norwich,
that.
Yeah.
Or match day 32, I should say. Sorry to the Sky listeners. That's game week 35 in Sky. Because when you look at those Saturday fixtures on the other side, I think we're going to be carrying Wolves assets through away to Aston Villa. Now, that might be tempting, and it's the 12:30, so we'll know the team, which is possibly a little bit helpful. Bruno Fernandes away to Brighton is another option. If you've still got Danny Ings away to Watford, the Sheffield United boys defensively are at home to Spurs, but Aubameyang at home to Norwich appeals. So it could be that I even decide now to go that way. I'd still, for example, I'm going to get 2-0s over, obviously, the Liverpool, but then Liverpool play twice before I'm holding that Aubameyang. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So there's no gain. If I go Aubameyang and then back to Liverpool, or even just come off a Liverpool asset to go that way, there's no gain. And I don't want to come off Leicester yet because they're playing Saturday. My idea is to fire off that come Sunday, which we'll talk about in a bit. So there's a number of different ways that I might go. My instinct is De Bruyne will play, and I'll be going Richarlison to De Bruyne. That's my instincts. And I think that'll be it for me.
Yeah.
I just don't really... Jesus is one for me. I think Aguero's doubtful, isn't he? If Pep was to say pre-game, yeah, look, Aguero's definitely going to be out for the weekend as well, then I think I'd go, yep, okay, sod it. I'll go Jesus. That's fine, because then I would look at that and go 2 captaincies potentially. I'd feel comfort in the Saturday fixture with Burnley. But otherwise, I just don't feel comfortable that there's nobody I could say who will play for City tomorrow night, and obviously not knowing the team at the moment, I could say if they don't play, they'll definitely play against Burnley or vice versa. There's just no confidence in it with them playing Real Madrid next Tuesday.
Yep.
So Saturday captaincy becomes really, really awkward. It does mean having made far less moves than I'd anticipated, I'm firing different bullets this coming Sunday, I think.
I'm not sure what I'm doing this weekend yet. I want to get through the Wednesday night game, to be honest with you, and see where I stand in terms of my rank. I've still got 16 transfers. So I'm not complaining.
I'm on 14.
So there's still plenty of way to go yet.
Who did you captain Sunday?
Sunday, I had Richarlison.
Yeah.
And then...
I'm surprised you didn't go Bruno Fernandes having got him in.
Yeah.
And that's easy to say
back at it.
In hindsight.
And the other thing is Monday night, last night, I went with Grealish over Pereira. I only had the 2. Ooh. That hurt a little bit as well.
I went Pereira over Soyuncu for myself, which was the wrong decision. Soyuncu would have been worth a little bit more on that combination for me. An extra 4 points, actually. But I think I'd got to the decision on Sunday and on Monday where I'd pretty much decided that if Vardy started, I was going to bring him in and captain him. Of course, you can't predict what's going to happen, that he comes on, he gets over half hour, gets a penalty straight away, and then obviously gets another one as Villa chase the game late on. But I think it led to a lot of people looking at Harvey Barnes. I couldn't believe when I checked what his ownership was in the top 1,000.
Tell me.
It's about 22%.
That's very high.
Much higher than I'd anticipated. Now, I don't know if that's going back to sort of at the start with the Wolves fixture. It didn't feel like there were too many people thinking about making that gamble. And I've got to be honest, I don't know what his ownership was pre-Monday night. But yeah, 23.4% is his ownership in the top 1,000. And his ownership overall is under 3%. That suggests that somewhere here there was a gamble, a live ownership gamble on Harvey Barnes. And I think with Vardy out and people thinking about Villa defensively, Maddison's poor form, and all Brighton playing rather than a Jose Perez, who might have been the alternative people might have thought of, Andy and Iheanacho as well. That I just don't think you can have enough trust in Iheanacho. That a lot of people ended up taking that gamble on Harvey Barnes. There were others who had obviously held through. Perhaps it was an easy one where people had moved previously from, say, Traore to Harvey Barnes, perhaps for that Norwich fixture.
Yeah,
it could have been that people gambled on that Friday night and were still hanging about on it.
He's the one that has affected ranks more than anyone else, really.
It's a good price, isn't it? 7.2%, and he'd only had 5 points in his previous three: Wolves, Man City, and Norwich, but the previous three were 30 points, and obviously he's hit 20 in that Monday night fixture against Aston Villa. So 55 points over the last 7 is impressive, and he's the sort of one, I've spoken about this more on the FPL pods a few weeks back. He's fringes, of that England squad on a call-up, and he's the sort of one could have a really good end to this season. For me now, having missed it, and with them playing early against Watford, and then not playing until the Monday night in match day 32 against Everton, it's too late.
Yep.
Letting it go. And I will certainly come off at least one of Pereira or Syunku on Sunday. Possibly both. I think it'll probably, if assuming I make a move off of Richarlison on Wednesday night, then I think I would probably only sell the one.
Should we do some of these Twitter questions as we always do?
We can. Before we do, I'll jump in as usual. Do you know what you're doing captain-wise and transfer-wise for the coming weekend?
I don't at the moment. No. Is the honest answer to that. I haven't decided on my captaincy options yet. More than likely, let's pull it up here.
While you're pulling it up.
Well, I know Monday night's definitely going to be Mo Salah. Sadio Mane. I thought I owned Mo Salah there for a second. Monday night, Liverpool, Everton.
I think with Alisson looks like he's going to be out. That's probably enough for me to go Salah again. But do you know what? I have no faith in him returning in a fixture like that. And previously, what I'd been considering was coming off of all 3 Liverpool assets for Man City's all 3 fixtures. I'm not looking to go that way now. And in which case, I might have even just sacrificed and gone, I'll go Richarlison on that Monday night. Because I just don't really fancy them for a clean sheet or a Salah Hall Monday night. I'd actually probably
in a game that they can win the league title in
that
potentially.
Kind of fixture,
if they can win the league title in that game, they're going to batter Everton.
In that kind of fixture, I would just favour Mane. I just feel like he'll be more at it than Salah. So I think Mane, fine. Sunday.
Working backwards, the only player I own that's playing is Bruno Fernandes. And I think Bruno Fernandes away at Spurs is perfectly fine to captain.
You're going to be buying players on Sunday.
Yeah, I am. I think, I know...
Everybody's going to be buying players on Sunday.
When you put that tweet out and the
it.
Picture you chose was Jimenez against Fabianski.
There was a reason.
So we'll talk about
it wasn't a big
Antonio or whatever.
It was more highlighting that these are 2 teams that you're going to be strongly looking at for Sunday.
Definitely Wolves, because they play in the FA Cup weekend. And West Ham as well, to be fair.
Well, I'm telling you why. I'm telling you West Ham massively as well, because I think this is going a little bit under the radar. I'll come back to it. I think my captaincy Sunday would be Jimenez. I already own. Mm-hmm. That's the most likely for me. I think for you, it's Fernandes, isn't it, at Tottenham?
At the moment, yeah. It depends on who I buy.
I'm not getting Fernandes in till after the international break. I'm going to suffer whatever happens Sunday. And where are you Saturday at the moment?
I may be like you, Dean Henderson or Baldock.
I could well be Dean Henderson away to Newcastle.
I don't want to waste transfers, and I also don't think it's such a bad move. I think it's fine.
They've only conceded 25 goals.
All season.
It's 4 less than Manchester City.
It's phenomenal.
It's incredible, isn't it?
Phenomenal. I think Dean Henderson, we had this situation once before where it was Henderson or a defender. I had Baldock at the time as well. I ended up going with Dean Henderson, and yeah, I think Dean Henderson's fine. Newcastle haven't been playing badly, mind. They did create a lot of chances against Southampton. It wouldn't surprise me if they score, but I think Dean Henderson is the one I'm going to go with.
Where do you, before we do the Twitters, where do you currently stand in terms of how many players would you have right now for what is match day 31, the FPL blank game week, if you will?
Right here, right now?
Yeah.
1.
Just 1?
2. Van Dijk.
Yeah. Mane.
Deeney. No, I sold Mane for Aguero. I'm going to go back to...
Oh, you're going to go back. Okay.
Yeah.
You've got no Wolves.
Van Dijk and Troy Deeney.
You've got no Wolves.
Nope.
Currently, I have 5, which is Van Dijk, Trent, Salah, Jimenez, Traore. And having not sold any this previous weekend, which I think was acceptable if you did, I now have no intention of selling any of those 5 players. I'll even take the odds and sods of Traore, if that's what it's going to be in the next coming weeks, and then fire him out on that Sunday in match day 32.
Yep.
Because they played at 12:30 at Villa, which is still attractive on that Saturday following the international break. I'm in a position, I think, where I might go into that weekend with 9. And it means adding 4 players this Sunday. The 4 players that I'm potentially looking at, and I could buy all of these, is Matt Doherty, Diogo Jota,
Yep.
Mikel Antonio, and Jared Bowen, which might seem one too many, and it might be one too many. That would leave me, by the way, with about 4.4 million in the bank to fire in sort of Aubameyangs and Fernandez's on the other side. If that's, even though there might not be the gain there, that might be what I decide to do. I think West Ham, from a fixture perspective here, are going under the radar, and I actually think buying one of them this Sunday is a must. I really do. You probably wouldn't captain one against Wolves on Sunday. You'll get the benefit of the team, although we think from Tottenham discussions and what we've already recorded this week that you'll probably be unchanged.
I would like to be unchanged.
Fitness wise. Unless there's fitness issues, sorry. So who would you consider most, Suj? It's your team.
So I've looked at the price of the players. And also, they're in a awkward kind of bracket, as they are in FPL as well, where they're all a little bit expensive. So you look at Fabianski at 6.7. He's not much more than Dean Henderson, 0.3 million. If you fancy that and you're happy to hold him, by all means go for it, but not really for me. Defensively, Diop's had the goal threat, but he's expensive at 7.8 million. Agbona's a lot cheaper. The guy that puts his hand up there is Ngakia, because he is dirty cheap at 4.5. He's the second half of the season's Gilbert. Or
he could be.
Ngakia at 4.5, if you are just looking for a set and forget, and you're not going to... If he doesn't return, you might pick up a passing tier. Then don't worry. But you're spending 4.5 million on this guy, so you can't really complain. Not of interest to me. Jared Bowen's come in only 0.3 cheaper than Antonio. Antonio's 8.2, Jared Bowen at 7.9. I don't like the difference in price there. So for me, Antonio all the way is top of the list, second followed by Jared Bowen, and then third you would look at Fornals, because he's the most attacking of the other midfielders. The likes of Declan Rice and Mark Noble, you may as well forget it. How is Declan Rice 8 million in this game as well? Any
consideration for Allaire? Because from a Sky price, it's not bad, 8.2.
No. He's a transfer. He's a player that you might want to transfer out.
I don't think I could bear to have him in my team.
No. Haller, there's just nothing about it. If we switch to one up front for whatever reason, a 4-2-3-1 or what have you, Antonio's going to get the shirt. So Haller, if we decided to change system and try and be
He's
tighter.
the sacrifice, isn't he?
Haller will be benched. So I wouldn't go with Haller. I'd go with Antonio.
I think you want to go with something here that's a lock, and you want it as a lock for 4 game weeks, I would say.
So then Ngakia, Diop, Antonio. Bowen is not a lock. Robert Snodgrass at any point could come back into the team.
That's what made me think actually to cover this here, because I think there's not a lot of people mentioning the Newcastle fixture, which is the 4th of West Ham's next 4 fixtures. I actually think there's probably 3 captaincies here. To cover off Fabianski, he obviously came back in the team in over Christmas period. He had the penalty save against Leicester, but the only clean sheet has been the Bournemouth fixture, the 4-0, the next one.
Yep.
He had a 2-pointer against Sheffield United. He obviously went off injured in that fixture, missed Everton, Leicester, and his returns in the 6 fixtures since are 3-2, 4-2, 2-2. It's not enough.
No.
There's little bits of save returns in there against
Very
Liverpool,
little.
Man City.
I mean, to be honest, we've been defending better, so he's not going to have to make as many saves.
Is there any trust in that? It's not. It doesn't feel like.
No.
Like Dean Henderson feels like there's going to be single game day fixtures for him further down the road once the doubles are announced, and he's a solid captaincy choice for me.
It's not
I think
worth
the
the
same
transfer,
with Baldock on that.
It's not worth the transfer to get to Fabianski.
I agree. And Ngakia frightens me a little bit from the power it can give you at his price. He's brilliant. From his 4 games, he's got 5 points. And this is a guy you might captain 3 times.
I wouldn't make him your only West Ham asset. He's like an addition. He's not your. I wouldn't buy him as your only West Ham asset.
He's almost, if you go
Forget
with him
it.
like it was with Gilbert, and to a lesser extent, Dan Gilbert has had the odd tackle and assist and that, and Dan Burn very similar for Brighton.
Yeah.
And Ngakia doesn't feel like he's going to pick me up anything.
Passing tiers maybe, but not.
What for West Ham? Forget that, man.
Yeah, true.
Tackle-
We get
tackle-
30% possession.
A tackle bonus maybe, and having played some tough fixtures, if you consider like even the Southampton game he played up against Buffal, who's a tricky player, you'd hope there might be something tackle wise in there. Didn't pick it up in the games against Mane and Salah, etc., or in the Manchester City fixture. That puts me off, so I'd ignore. And that's what leads me to Bowen and Antonio. I think it's a really, really tough call. And Bowen tempts because he's hit shot tiers in both of his 2 starts. And from a Sky perspective, he also had tackle tier against Southampton. From a Sky perspective, it makes me feel like that's the right choice. But in me, I know Antonio playing out of position, and in some of these fixtures, I'm thinking particularly Tottenham away.
Yeah, he's going to bully you guys.
That's the one I possibly really fancy.
Can't wait to see it, because anytime you watch him, he wants to try and field the defenders and bully them. So,
but also the flip side of Antonio is the injury worry. Then does Snodgrass make something here where he gets back in the team? And it's why I'm actually tempted to go for both. Now, the reason why I say there's 3 possible captaincy options here, I would say forget Sunday. I think Wolves or Manchester United assets would be your best captaincy options, in spite of the fact they're both away from home. Friday night away for against Spurs. I'm really sorry if you've got Sergio Aurier. Well done, crack on. You're okay. I wouldn't go near Spurs otherwise, and I think a West Ham asset will be the better captaincy.
Yep.
The week after the international break, they play Chelsea at home on the Sunday. Now, Manchester City and Liverpool is also scheduled for that day.
As it stands.
There is a possibility, obviously, if Man City or Liverpool have a Champions League quarter-final on the Tuesday, that fixture is going to get moved back to the Saturday, be it a 5:30 kickoff and a swap with Sheffield United and Tottenham, or the other possibility is it could be a 7:45 kickoff on the Saturday. And then that leaves it as a standalone fixture on the Sunday, possibly then. And there's so little coverage of us with Chelsea ownership. Now, you can buy on the day and you'll get to know the team. But then with West Ham playing at Newcastle the following Friday as well,
off you go.
And then you can just bin them straight from there, knowing that they're not going to have any doubles.
Yep.
And that feels right.
It is right. Logically.
And therefore, I think the choice is Antonio and Bowen. And for me, it might even be both.
I hope you do buy 2 or 3, because then you'll know how it feels to be me and be disappointed by West Ham every flipping week.
I already know you're going to disappoint me, other than in the Friday night fixture against Spurs. It's almost a certainty. But yes, I might go both, because I think it's a really, really close call.
It is a close call, and they both potentially can return. I think that we're going to go on a little run here. I feel it. So
I think if I went just one, no, I really don't know. I feel Antonio's a little safer from the team perspective, but I actually think if Bowen plays the 4 fixtures, he might return better.
It's going to be because of the tackle tiers, passing tiers, shot tiers, and what have you. He has that in his locker, perhaps more than Antonio does. So, yeah.
They're at a price point, though, where I think, like I said, if you want to, and if you're going to need transfers in hand to go both, obviously. But if you're in sort of my position, I think you can go both, and they're at a value where it's easy enough to get away. 7.9 and 8.2, respectively. Who ever thought that West Ham would feature so heavily in a Sky Fantasy Football podcast? I would keep this one as an audio record because it will probably never happen again.
I disagree. I think now that we learn about all these shot tiers and passing tiers and all this other stuff, Sky is a very different game. Now, in that conversation, we've literally killed off all of the flipping Twitter questions here. So let's rattle through them nice and quick now. Dan Cox, how are you, Dan? Did Suj remember to log in? Yes, I made 3 transfers on Saturday and Sunday, and I regret all of it already. So, Rob Pick, Bowen or Antonio applies to Sky and FPL. I'd really like to bring one in for Ings on Sunday. I mean, you've just heard us go round and round in circles. I honestly couldn't tell you one or the other.
Tough.
If you're looking for straight up attacking returns, Antonio. If you're looking for a mixture of returns in terms of tier points,
I think
Bowen.
I think FPL are more Antonio.
Yeah,
but I think
Sky,
the potential
Bowen.
of the shot tiers here for Bowen levels it a bit.
And he does like to have a pop from outside the box. He's not scared to shoot. So, yeah. Dan Cox again. West Ham. Who's the least shittiest player to pick for the 2 games they can be captains?
One of the 2 we said, Dan. Make your choice.
And less of the shitty. Thank you very much. Right, Leon and also who else? Dav here have asked about Man City. So Dav says, is it time to dump Man City assets after this weekend coming? And Leon says, what are your thoughts on City's assets longer term? Do you think KDB is a nailed starter from now until the end of the season, Champions League, FA Cup? Now, when I saw Aguero go off early, Mahrez on the bench on Sunday after I'd made some transfers, I was kicking myself because we should know by now, shouldn't we, that Man City will rotate and screw us around. We should know by now. And I'm fed up with it. I'd rather just miss the hauls but not have the rotation disappointment because that hurts as much.
If they go through in the Champions League, you can't help but think all the eggs are going into it.
Agreed.
Which I think, having watched the first leg, most of us will think they will go through. And obviously at that stage, irrespective of how many defensive problems they've had and how bad they looked at Manchester United on Sunday, they are probably rightly favourites for the Champions League. The desperation to win that because of what might be coming afterwards as well for them is going to be absolutely huge. And with the league absolutely done, placing second is really under no threat. It might finish third, I guess, conceivably, but they wouldn't finish any lower than that. 100% it's going to be full strength in the league, but in the Champions League. But you never know what he's going to do. It's not like you could look at it and go, he's going to go Foden in every league game, for example. Now I think Foden's going to get more minutes. We've got Leroy Sané to come back very shortly as well. What's the knock-on for people like Riyad Mahrez, who's been a decent asset this season, Bernardo Silva, Raheem Sterling, obviously. Jesus has been playing up front / on the left in some fixtures. What's the impact there? Laporte, when he comes back, would be amazing for this game. He ain't going to risk him in league games, is he?
No.
But he might. And then where does it leave you with like Otamendi, Fernandinho, Rodri, the fullback rotation? And it just leaves you Ederson. And he might even get to the point he goes, do you know what? Sod it. I can't be having Bravo. I'll play Bravo in the league games. And I wouldn't have Bravo even if you said to me he was going to play every league game. I'd have no interest. So unfortunately, if they progress in the Champions League, I think they're a scrap. And for me, whatever I've got going into Sunday, I'll be selling. Even if I go back to KDB, it'll be the 2 games and out. Otamendi, no faults of keeping, they will be going. I'm absolutely certain of that. I can't think there's anything conceivably that would change my mind on that. The only thing is, you look at the fixtures beyond that match day 32 game with Liverpool, and it's Southampton, Brighton, Bournemouth, Watford, Norwich, with Newcastle and Chelsea away to be confirmed in terms of where they go.
Some teams in amongst that are going to get a
But
battering, aren't they?
those rearranged games could be single game day fixtures as well. It's not even inconceivable that some of the later ones will be as well. And at which point it's like, but if they're single game days, at least if you want to fire one in as a captaincy, you'll know the team, right?
These guys, Man City are like an abusive partner or a cheating girlfriend, aren't they? You're fed up. You just want to walk away, and yet they keep you hooked a little bit with just the flashing of goals and assists and all that.
I'll be selling for Wolves and West Ham on Sunday. It's my plan.
Right, 3 more questions to go. This one's a non-FPL, non-football question.
Okay.
James, you said last week that you're not a fan of Marmite.
Did I? It's true.
Does that apply to me as well? No, I like Marmite. I don't mind a bit of Marmite. I can't say I eat it a lot, but I don't mind it. What about other similar spreadable substances such as marmalade, peanut butter, Nutella, etc.?
Nah, not big on any of them.
Really?
Not really, no.
So me...
peanut butter, I'll go through stages.
I'm not really a peanut butter guy. Probably because I never grew up on it.
I'll have a couple of weeks every year. I'm like, I need some peanut butter on toast. And then for the rest of the 50 weeks of the year, it will just sit in a cupboard. Won't do fuck all.
It's red jam for me. It's either strawberry or raspberry or any red coloured jam. But the butter has to have melted on the toast. If the butter's melted and the jam goes on, that is the one. That's breakfast every day if I could.
Prefer it fry up.
I'd be diabetic.
That's why I don't get near the old the sauce on the toast. I'm normally having a fry up. Got any sausages, love?
Oh dear. Mark Wright. Any particular strategies to maximise the number of assets playing in game week 33, Sky 33, which is obviously FA Cup weekend.
Match day 31, yeah.
Is it worth making some transfers in 32 to line up any specific players for 33? And before you get into it, the final question that we had in was from Sam, Sky Sports FF. How many players will you be playing in the FA Cup game week? And what's an acceptable number to have? I might be as low as, well, I said I've got 2. I'll probably be around 6 or 7. That's all I'm going to have.
An acceptable number is 3. 1 West Ham player, 1 Liverpool player, 1 Wolves player.
Captain for each day.
But I think there's no excuse, certainly not to Wolves, because you look at the 3 fixtures as well and you go, West Ham this Sunday away with respect. Then next week on the Sunday, it's Bournemouth at home. And then after the international break, you got the Villa away 12:30 on the Saturday. So even if at that point you hated it and one of your Wolves assets, I'm talking about maybe going to say, for me, Bruno Fernandes or Aubameyang on the day, if I hold that money back like I've suggested and one of those guys is not in the starting lineup, they're gone. Fire in Aubameyang, Fernandes and that on the day. I'd take that as an optional. It's 3 great fixtures for Wolves and I really think 1 West Ham asset is right. 4 fixtures coming up of which I think you're certainly going to want to captain in 2 of them. Those who've got Aurier might beg to differ and say 1, or if someone's sitting there with a Dubravka, for example.
Just remind them what Aurier didn't play the other day.
The only thing I'd say on Aurier, the 2 games that he's missed has both been away games. I don't know if there's anything in that. I don't know. And obviously, assuming we've pre-recorded this before Spurs play Leipzig, but I'll work on the basis that we've gone out, then there's no midweek fixtures left for Spurs. And therefore, there's no competition to Aurier in that position. Yep. So that's possibly helpful with Aurier. Obviously, you can go to Aurier on Sunday. He's the only one I can conceivably... I was speaking to Luke from Scout, who does the stream with Joe. I was speaking to him Friday night, and he was saying that he's got Aurier, and I was like, yes, fine, yeah, like, by all means, of course, you've got to hold him now. It's absolutely fine, and it's not the worst one if you want to buy. You're buying for Manchester United at home, West Ham at home, Sheffield United away. I think you're hoping for the tackle bonus there. I don't see clean sheets coming for Spurs.
No.
I looked at Loris. He is hitting the odd save tier at sort of 7.3. It's not for me. Dele Alli's too expensive. Even if he is playing OOP, he's going to frustrate and piss you off. So Spurs are a void. Sad, isn't it?
Try my best to.
Sad, isn't
Most days. And that is all the Twitter questions.
Okay,
Not many
cool.
of them, but there we go.
Let's go down the pub.
Well, you will, and I will
Yesterday.
not today. Guys, thanks for tuning in to Sky FF. As always, thanks for your interaction on Twitter and in the comments on the YouTube videos and what have you. Appreciate all of it. We'll be back tomorrow with our FPL content. That's the Clash of the Correspondents with Norwich and Southampton. And the final plan Q&A special for all you FPL players as well, which will be a Friday morning podcast.
Yes, extended Twitter questions. And obviously, just remember, guys, everything we've covered is going to be completely irrelevant in about 48 hours when the rest of the season gets cancelled.
Correct, that's true. There's touch wood, fingers crossed. Everybody stay safe. Ciao for now.
Wash your hands. Cue music, man, child.
Messi, ancora 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 Messi.